right? And they're about 10 feet high. They're about 12 or 14 foot long. And they're at 100 ton weight, right? And they're down in the ground. 20 of them, imagine 20 of them, dug out under the ground. Not enough room to swing a cat, but yet you have these sarcophagus, supposed to be whatever they are, 100 ton weight in each one. How they can get them down, maneuver them around, and polish them, spotless. You want to see where they're polished? You could see your face in them, like, you can see your face in them, right? They didn't know what they were for. They keeps it on the quiet. You don't hear much about this stuff. You'll never be taught about that in school, not in a million years. No, they never tell you the truth. So, it's a mystery, right? No one knows what was in them boxes. So some of the boxes are open, right? There's nothing in none of them. All the lids have been moved. There was one only sealed. No one, they won't tell you what was in there. 30 ton weight. You can't go near them. You can't go near one that's sealed anyway. But you can go near all the other ones and you can look into them and go near them and walk around them and everything. But anyway, the moral of the story is, in two of them, in another place, right? There's all black gooey stuff. It's like blood or something that was there umpteen years and went black and gooey and it looks mad. And your man there, Brian something, I can't think of his name. Well, he's doing all the research on it and he's getting the truth out there, you know what I mean? Very good now, I watches him, he'll be live on the internet there. Live streaming from Egypt. So look, with no further delay, and we think about it, right? There's only a couple of stone weight that, look. So imagine something 100 fucking ton weight, and you bring it down under the ground with 20 more of them, with no artificial light supposed to be. So how did they do it? How did they get along and dig all this out without any light and tunnel into the ground and bring in these boxes and polish them in there? Bring them in and polish them inside. It's off the chart, right? It's off the chart. So stay with me. And I'll give you a look.
And as we walk into the Serapeum, this is one of the most spectacular places by far in all of ancient Egypt because of the mysterious boxes we're going to look at. The site was discovered by the archaeologist Mariette, I believe in the 19th century, and had been relatively unknown for a long period before that. It is literally underground. The dynastic people probably found it, but the constructions you're going to see could not have been done by the dynastic people. The first thing is, if the lights weren't on, this place would be pitch black. And so how could they possibly have quarried out this huge tunnel system that goes through it? There's no appearance of any soot or anything like that on the ceiling. And so the construction of this tunnel system, which appears to have been repaired, as you can see on the left, in different periods of time, the lighting must have been artificial in some way. And though that sounds hard to believe, you will believe it when you see what these boxes look like. It appears in some ways that the Serapeum is a climate-controlled atmosphere, because every time I've been there, and it's been at least 6 times so far, it's always about 70 degrees Fahrenheit or approximately 20 degrees Celsius, which is a very pleasant temperature. It's not like something like the interior of the King's Chamber in the Great Pyramid, which is very, very warm. So the coolness, of course, is because it's subterranean, but the question is, what are these immense objects that we're about to see? How were they created? What were they possibly used for? And why, when Mariette discovered them, were all of the lids, except one, pried open? Very mysterious place. So the lid of this box weighs 30 tons, and the box itself weighs 70 tons. So that's 100 tons, and you can see the highly polished surfaces with the really crappy hieroglyphics done. Conventional academics insist that the shaping of the box and the hieroglyphics are contemporary with one another, But that is completely ridiculous. It's quite obvious that the dynastic people found these boxes in situ and in some cases decided to carve hieroglyphics in some of them. Again, the stone likely came either from the eastern desert or from Aswan. Also, these recesses you can see in the walls are larger than the length of the lid of the box. So that means that the indentations were likely made so that the tops, 30 tons apiece, could swivel open. And again, the surfaces beautifully polished. The lid fits on so tightly that it would hermetically seal the box. There's no way a Bronze Age culture could have possibly done this work. Though the hieroglyphics, of course, they very much could have done. They are very crude, and because of the granular nature of the granite with the quartz content, that's why the lines are not straight. And why are these indentation areas polished as well? It's very odd that the original builders didn't make them perfectly flat surfaces. If this was a resonant box of some kind for high technology or some other function, it could be that the indentations were for final tuning of the box, because the acoustics inside are absolutely astonishing, and the box loves the sound of the tone Om. So again, the hieroglyphics are so crude, whoever the artisan was, he could not even, or she, could not even make a straight line because of the granular nature and the content of very hard quartz, which is in the material itself. But the high polish of the surfaces is quite amazing. You would likely need to have something like diamond, dust, or powder to be able to produce a polished surface like that. And then as we turn, we're going to explore the fact that there are more than 20 of these massive boxes in situ in the Serapeum at Saqqara. Now, not only are they in the niches, but you can notice they're about 5 feet down into the niche. So the box would have to have been moved through the corridor, turned around a corner, and be gently placed downwards by about 6 feet or 2 meters into the niche itself. And again, intriguing that the interior walls are wider so that the top of the box could swivel freely. But how are you going to move a 30-ton lid by hand in such a narrow space? So we continue walking through the tunnel labyrinth system here at the Serapeum, and this little hallway connects up with the second long tunnel. It does not have niches in it, but it seems to be the way that the stone boxes were transported into the other tunnel system. And what we're going to see here is very much telltale as to what was going on in ancient Egypt before the time of the dynastic people. What we're coming up to is one of the giant boxes without the lid, and the surface is relatively rough. So it was shaped likely before it was brought into the tunnel system of the Serapeum. And this is like it's locked in time. Something happened at the Serapeum, stopping all work. Once again, there's no soot or anything like that on the ceilings, and so candles or torches or whatever would not have been used in the fabrication of the tunnels or the movements of the boxes themselves. So artificial lighting of some kind would have to have been used, and this goes along with the fact that these boxes had to have been made utilizing high levels of very advanced technology, in some cases technology beyond our capacity today. So as we walk past the unfinished box that likely would have been finished once it was very close to its niche, we see in the background the lid that was to accompany the box. So it's very likely, and it's telling us, that the box would have been moved first, then the lid second. The box would have probably then been put into its niche, then the lid, 30 tons, put on top of the box. But how was the polishing done to make such a beautiful seal? And then we have this other orphaned lid here, and we're going to go back into the main tunnel to see where its companion box might be located. So again, this is the main tunnel, and here you can see the flashlights glinting off a smaller box, but very finely crafted, with some crude hieroglyphics put on later. This is the companion box for that monstrous lid that we saw just previously. You can see it wasn't finally finished, so the finishing would have to have been done in the niche itself. And Saqqara is a massive, massive site, and so there are other underground structures that we visited. Not as impressive as the Serapeum, but still, if you're going to spend the entire day at Saqqara, then it's well worth to make efficient use of your time. So in the case of climbing into this little tunnel, which again appears to be lined with granite, then you literally have to get on your hands and knees and crawl. There's a lot of dust and ground up limestone on the floor, and so you'll definitely have to wash your clothes after this little adventure. But that's what visiting ancient Egypt, especially with us, is all about. It's seeing as much as possible and focusing on the most mysterious ancient constructions that could not have been achieved by the dynastic Egyptians, telling us that standard history is very short-sighted.